Let's go ahead and reset this game. And let's go ahead and dive into match number 3 of this evening. So let's go ahead and do this, shall we? All right, so Xard over on the east side rocking the red, while Epicosity rocking the blue out east. That's west, this is east. I don't know my directions. Haha. Let's go ahead and adjust the colors as well. Epicosity's, look at that, man. Loving the uniformity of using similar colors to previous games a little bit, you know? So how are your games going? That's a funny question. I mean, I had a decent time with it. I just know that I still have a lot of work to do when it comes to like understanding the game and getting more practice in, because I didn't really practice too much as I wanted to prior to the tournament. So it is what it is, but my expectations of getting out of the group stage are pretty low. I will say that. Yeah. Because I know that we haven't had the opportunity to get the results out yet, but I'm pretty sure I'm not making it out of my group 100%. Anywho, enough about me. Let's go ahead and get into these lovely 2 players here. I have seen Xard play quite a bit here. I'm not familiar with Epicosity's game. Is he new? I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure in Epicosity. But we are seeing that Epicosity is going to go start off with the going big on the Blizzards here, so he probably has played this game, obviously, with the opening that he decided to do. Meanwhile, for Xard, he's going to go ahead and go into the Squirrel Skunk combo, go into tier 2 really, really early. Probably to see if he can counter the Lizard a little bit, because Epicosity is looking to be aggressive here in the early goings of this. And, of course, Xard getting clapped there, and oh yeah, Epicosity is going rear, is zooming right now. He's zooming. He is zooming. And right now, he is in a good position to go for an attack, but Xard doing a really good job just defending in that area and forcing Epicosity to say, nah, never mind, retreat. Yeah, okay, yeah, Epicosity is definitely a very skilled player from how he's doing these things. Epicosity is going to finally retreat here. He is going to put that second mill in a very peculiar spot, because if it does get spotted by Xard, it could be easy pickings if Epicosity is not careful. That's why I didn't join comp this time. I understand that. I know for me, I just kind of use open division to kind of get better at like understanding and learning the game more so until I feel confident enough to want to do comp, because like I'm pretty sure if I joined comp I would end up just getting swept every time, in all honesty. Epicosity tried to do a quick cheeky attack with the Lizards, didn't work out, so not much going on that end. I will say when it comes to army, very even Stevens so far, but it would give the edge to Xard a little bit here because of his the amount of tier 2, and of course the Badger's about to come to play. Oh boy. So 1 base badgering this one, which is going to be interesting. Meanwhile, Epicosity pretty much setting up shop on this second mill here, with it being so out and about. It's going to be interesting how this is going to play out for him, as he is going to see the tier 3. I believe he saw that tier 3. Wait, no, he didn't. Ooh, okay, interesting. He did not see it yet. So I'm very curious if he is understanding just like the figure. He's going to float quite a lot here. And ooh, that's a good spot. That is a good spot for a freaking tier 3. Oh my goodness. It is. If it does get spotted though, it's probably going to be like clapped very easily. But when it comes to hiding, that's a good spot. And now I'm a bit concerned about the spot now, because Xard is going to take that one very, very close mill. I don't know if it exposes where that is. Oh, he sells it. Okay, cool. But yeah, here comes Epicosity, looking for try to get a different angle going, as he's just gonna be bullying Xard here, telling him, no, you're not. You're gonna go home on my terms. And Xard is able to finally escape the wrath of the lizards. Mr. Lizard King over here. We are going to get a quick sell of a tier 1 to pay off that boar. And so it's a bit of a timer here, as the badge is going to come out pretty soon in about, like, I would say 20 seconds. Meanwhile, the boar is not too far behind, probably another 60 seconds most likely. I keep forgetting what the timing of tier 3 is being built. I believe it's another 60 seconds, so about 30 to be played around with. But now we're gonna see a huge attack here, as we're gonna see a flanking, as the lizards getting pulled back a little bit, and he looks like he's gonna go ahead and concede the second mill, possibly just trying to see if he can get them in the trap, as the boar is now finally out. And now the true battle will commence right here and there, as the boar cleaning everything up. The boar's gonna go down, but the badger is finally gonna get down, and we're gonna see a majority of both teams to bleed it. But Xard is gonna have a little bit of the edge here, as a falcon and a skunk survives. But for Epicosity, it's just a tier 1. And it looks like he's going to go ahead and set up the boar. Both sides are now starving. And it looks like that Xard will have the edge here. But he needs to go ahead and get that thing to have to sell something in order for that farm to get paid off for. And that is going to be the case. And so now he gets a chance to replenish a little bit and also not worry about the timer. But for Epicosity, he has a very tough road ahead of him, because he has nothing available. He's selling a lot of tier 1. He's trying to go for a base race scenario, but at this juncture, there's not much he can do, and that's going to be the first game going over to Xard. Very wild start there for game 1, for sure. So get that 1 on there. Yeah, seeing the early badge not being paid for is painful. Yeah, I can agree with that. That one's certainly not that very unfortunate in that regard. But, you know, Xard still got the W in that case. And now we're going to go ahead and get into game number 2 between these two. Very fun game 1, I will say. So it's going to be interesting to see how game 2 will play out. So, Xard, over on the west side in the red, trying to see if he can take it up to match point. Meanwhile, for Epicosity, trying to make sure that he gets on the board to guarantee a game 4, as he rocks the blue out in the west. Very tight map this go round. I would say that, like, when it comes to mills, giving it to Xard a little bit. 2 easy mills to get after. While for Epicosity, it's just 1, and then there's 1 that's a little bit out over to the left, but it's pretty even split. But if I were to give an edge, it would go more to Xard than Epicosity, because of the closeness and less obstacles to go around to get all 3 mills. Going into compositions, we're now going to see the wolf be introduced on both sides, as I guess, war? Would it be war, or would it be both? Should it be war or both for the for the boar wolf combo? I don't know. I like both. Both sounds fun to say. For Epicosity, so they have the both, as well with the Cam Falcon, as well with Squizzard. Meanwhile, for Xard, going for the solo wolf, going for the mass tier 2, as well with Squizzard as well. So right now, I do find both of these comps to be very interesting. I really will find it very intriguing if Epicosity is able to get both tier 3s up and running, but of course it has to rely on him going heavy on there. Literally wanted to be greedy at this point, but decided against it, decided to sell, and he might be looking to try and be aggressive. But if I recall correctly, I don't think there's not a lot of options for him to be aggressive here. Mainly because of the fact that there aren't a lot of avenues for this Blizzard to go to. Like, this is the only legitimate path to kind of fight in the angles. But it looks like Xard is going to go for that particular pathway itself. There isn't anything defending him here. So he could have gotten easy pickings, but nope. He's going to say never mind. Because, like I said, it's a very close proximity of all of the mills that are available. So it's easy to defend that. So Epicosity is going to go ahead and decide to go for his second mill. And right now, we are going to see the lizards try to come into play as well. But the lizards are kind of left alone a little bit. And now bringing it back home onto home base, as both sides are just pretty even Steven when it comes to both army value as well as the income. But Xard getting into that second mill early is paying dividends. But now Epicosity gonna go full force, trying to take down a couple of pigs, and he will do just that, and will go out with still a good amount of... Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, that's not good. Now Xard has the opportunity to go ahead and counter. He doesn't have a lot of lizards his way, but the squirrels could do more than enough to try and clean things up. As a lot of lizards go down, there goes one pig. There's going to be a second one being taken down, and that's all that Xard is going to be able to do. And now both kind of a bit of a scrappy fight between the two of them, as Epicosity wants to return the favor, this time trying to target the second mill. But it really going to be hard. It's a much harder angle to go into with the fact that it's on higher ground, and there's not a lot of room to really kind of shoot. And now the cams are going to come into play. The cams are going to negate itself. The squirrels are coming in. Very scrappy game so far, as... right now, Epicosity is going to find a way to break through. But with the fact that the pigs are very properly placed, being away from the battle, the target is going to be on the mill, but the mill has to be defended by the units. So right now, Epicosity is trying to chip away slowly but surely, but the reinforcements are going to be proving to be too much, and Epicosity is not going to have a successful counterattack. So very good effort there by Epicosity to try and get the counter going, but it was for naught because the focus was not on the pigs. If he actually got at least one of the pigs, it will put him in a really good spot here, as we're going to look into the income. Epicosity does have that lead in that regard, but Xard has the much more superior army at this moment. And Xard's going to continue to build up that that army as much as he can here, as it looks like Epicosity is going to try to do the same thing to match up that aggressive stance. But with Xard investing into a couple of tier 2s, it's going to be interesting how it's going to play out. So right now, Epicosity, ooh, he's going to go ahead and go for another lizard attack. And he's not going to have nearly enough success as he did the last time. Only taking out one Warren, which can be replaced pretty easily. But with the 5-minute mark being passed, he will have to go and be forced to sell another to be able to try and continue getting things going on his end. We are going to see a third mill coming in for Epicosity. Epicosity gonna go ahead and try and take on that mill finally, and he does! Just barely. He's gonna lose all his lizards though, but that's gonna be very much worth it, as Xard gonna be in a much more dire situation, and he doesn't have a lot of mills available. So there, he's gonna have to full send, and I don't think he has the numbers to be able to take this on. Epicosity is gonna go ahead and put Xard in a bad spot. He's starving. His army's deplenished, and that's going to be game number 2 going over to Epicosity. Nice, nice. So right now, solid stuff here, as both sides end up getting tied to 1 apiece. Go ahead and get a quick sip real quick of my water, because, you know, we don't get We don't get hydrated. We stay hydrated in these parts. Oh, heck yeah. Oops. Keep doing that. Now, let's go ahead and dive into game number 3, shall we? When everything tied up, it does get a little bit juicy. So, let's dive in. So, Xard, rocking the red, going out in the northwest, while Epicosity going over to the east side, rocking the blue. And right now, it looks like Epicosity is going to keep the same thing going with the Badger composition. Meanwhile, Xard going to full-on Wolf composition on his end. And that seems to be like the standard deck that I'm seeing for this modded patch. Is really going for that Wolf, as well going heavy into the tier 2 and the Squad. Really going heavy on trying to destroy the mills and other defensive units and warrens, because those structures are a little bit more squishy compared to last patch. So I'm very intrigued as to how Xard plays with this one, especially when the Wolf comes into play. So it's going to be a wait and see, as the Gentleman 8 is going to be commenced by both sides. Epicosity is going to start off with the opening Squirrel. Oh, actually, he's going to say never mind and go ahead and buy that second mill and then investing into the Squirrel. So trying to go into the economy game very, very early here. And Xard's, of course, going to see that and probably answer back accordingly. Probably going to buy a mill of his own. Try to stay up to date as a second set of squirrels come out. And Epicosity is going to dive into the into some lizards this time. Probably going to try and look to be aggressive. So I'm very curious to see like what's going to happen here. Is this game number 3, it could be anyone's game, to be honest with you, as both sides are trying to set up very, very well. Epicosity is going to go heavy on the lizards, but meanwhile, Xard starting to get into some toads as well. And those toads could really be a hard counter to the lizards, because the lizards are so reliant on being close combatant. Toads are probably the best way to counter those lizards, especially if when they go aggressive here. Speaking of aggressive, Epicosity going heavy on the economy game right now, as well as Xard, both trying to keep up with each other. Epicosity going to be in a little bit of the lead there when it comes to that, anyways, when it comes to the economy game. So, seeing a lot of things matched. We're seeing a lot of tier 1 being played out here. And right now, things are slowly but surely being set up, as we are going to get to the 3-minute mark. We're already over halfway to the 5-minute limit where things start dying out. But now Epicosity's trying to see if he can find a good angle to possibly be aggressive, but this isn't a very good map for lizards, to be honest, with the fact that they do get slow in the water, and that's literally like 50% of the map. But meanwhile, Xard relying on the pocket mill a little bit, making sure that everything goes very well. Meanwhile, Epicosity, I'm curious to see if he wants to go into tier 3, because he is floating a little bit here. He is going to go ahead and try and invest to another scout. Kind of seeing what's going on. Nothing too crazy happening. But Xard actually might be looking into possibly attacking here. Nope, he just want to go ahead and build that third mill. And I would assume that, no, he is going to go ahead. Oh, boy, there it is. But it's going to get found out. Oh, no. Oh, no, Xard. Did Xard see that? Did Xard see the... No, he didn't. He did not see the bad... Oh, that's not good. He did not see the tier 3. That is no bueno. Let me actually make sure that he did not see it. Yeah, he didn't. Okay, cool. Yeah, he did not see it, so that's a bit of an oopsie. That's unfortunate, but the tier 3 is going to be there for Xard with the wolf coming in. So it looks like that the wolf will be just a little bit behind the badger, which is not a bad thing. I think his intuition came in saying that my opponent probably put down a tier 3, so I'm going to go ahead and put down a tier 3 as well. Epicosity does end up seeing Xard's tier 3. And now it really depends on the timing and how things go. Xard, heavy floating right now. I don't know if he's trying to see if he can get... Yep, he does buy something as well as getting the wolf paid for as well. The badger is also paid for, so both sides pretty even Steven when it comes to the timing of their tier 3s. This could be a massive battle between two big old armies coming together. But the water does make things a little bit more interesting because of how everything can come so slow. So you can imagine keeping an eye out on things like the Falcons becoming a big coming in clutch for Xard. After all, trying to go for massive squirrels, having a little bit of toad to try and lead the fray. Depending on how Xard micros this could go into his advantage, even with the fact that Epicosity does have a heavy amount of lizards. I would say the lizards would be the first one to come into it, and that is going to be the case. Trying to take as much of those pesky frogs as possible. Wolf goes down automatically, but we are at a bad spot here because of the fact that the Falcons, there's so many of them. But it's not going to matter too much as all the Falcons finally go down and the badger is fully wrapped up. Not handling what's going to happen as Xard does end up tapping with this one. So Epicosity taking the lead outright 2-1. So good stuff going on there for Epicosity as he's going up into match point. Will we get a game 5? We about to find out in this next match as we head into game 4. Skadoosh. Doo-doo-doo. All right, Zardy Zoo down south, rocking the red. Meanwhile, Epicosity up to the northeast, rocking the blue, trying to get into game, set, match, trying to get this done. But Xard wanting to go ahead and get this into a game 5 as he has a whole board comp on the ready. Meanwhile, for Epicosity, gonna try the Wadger this time around. So let's see how this is going to go between the two of them. Very much bigger. Oh, it's deceptively bigger, but there aren't a lot of options when it comes to mills because for Epicosity, there's one out of the way that's kind of pocket, but it's a bit of a hassle to go around. There's also this one right here. Meanwhile, for Xard, he just has the one, and this one's kind of null and void because I don't even think anyone would even want to go out that way, but we shall see. Xard kind of looking around a little bit. There's not a lot of options for either side to really make a lot of noise. I wouldn't be surprised. Well, Epicosity's going to go into that second mill, but Xard, I would not be surprised if he said bump it, go to one base to try and go for the kill early, just so that he can take this into a game 5. But it's a wait and see. Meanwhile, Epicosity gonna go ahead and set up a couple of squirrel warrens as his second mill has been built. Meanwhile, for Xard, getting into the 9 here. And so far, so good. But right now, both sides are just kind of keeping it cool for a little bit. I did hear I could have sort of heard a mill getting bought, but I might be tripping. Up there as it is. Mill's getting bought over to Xard's end. Now for Epicosity, we'll see how he kind of plays around with it, as he is a little bit of the eco league, while Xard's on the army lead a little bit. But you know, everything is kind of played around a little bit. It's just mainly tier 1, and Xard has a superior number right now with the fact that he does have toads getting ready for it, and there isn't a lot to stop the toads from making some pretty big connections. So it really depends on how well Xard's able to mitigate some of the attacks. Because the Toads does get sniped out, and that's going to put Xard in a bad spot as... Ooh, a good connection there from the one Toad. That pretty much flips everything over his head. But Epicosity is going to find a way to defend that fully, so very even trade between the two players. So now Epicosity trying to do whatever he can to get into this one. Very intrigued as to what happens. Ooh, excuse me. Yeah, so far both sides just kind of tiptoeing around a little bit. Epicosity going very greedy on the economy, and now we're seeing a full-on attack here as Epicosity is just standing there right now. Okay, well, yeah, that's gonna do it. So Epicosity is able to take the series outright in 4. So GG's going over to him.